Hey, it's Allie with Seattle Coffee Gear, and today we're talking about setting up the Breville Barista Pro. This has been a really popular machine for us, but we get a lot of questions about setting it up, and we just wanted to go over a few ways to make that easier for you and kind of talk about things in the manual that may be confusing or just provide some more information and clarification. I will say you'll probably want to make sure you look at your manual in addition to this video. I'm going to go over some of the things they talk about, but not everything. And when it comes to the use of your machine, it's just good to have that info on hand. So first things first, when you get your machine, go ahead and plug it in, and we're going to install the water filter. So water tank right here, and then I actually put this together already. So for your filter, you want to make sure that you soak it for 5 minutes. And then give it a rinse. Then this literally just slips right into place. Super easy. One thing I do want to note is that this filter is for taste and odor, but not for water hardness. So if you have pretty hard water, you might want to look into some other filter options for your machine, because this won't cut it completely. Does work for taste and odor though really well. This little dial in the front is also to help you keep track of when to replace it. You'll want to replace your filter every 2 months. So I have mine set to 2 months from now to remind us to change that filter. Really easy install. Just go ahead and pop it in there. Just sits, and then fill your water tank. When you're filling your water tank for the first time, you'll want to make sure that it's pretty full. It's going to fill the boilers and everything, so it will take a little bit more water than usual whenever it starts. I don't know if mine will do that because we've actually already turned it on and set it up before, but go ahead and hit that on button. It will probably go into a similar cycle like that. And then we're going to add some coffee. So a nice feature about this machine is it does have a removable hopper. So that's something to keep in mind if you ever do want to change your beans, or if you need to clean or something. You just turn this. Makes it super nice and simple. Today we are using Huckleberries Blue Orchid Blend. This is a great one for espresso. I really like it for both just classic espresso or with milk. So if you're looking for a versatile espresso, this is a good one to try. Really balanced, even, really easy to dial in. That's kind of why I chose it for this video. Not too dark either. It's more of like a medium roast. Perfect. I think the hopper holds just under a full 12-ounce bag. It's about 8 to 10 ounces there. Perfect. What else can we say? I think we're ready to just go ahead and make the drink. I'm going to get set up on the other side, and I'll be right back. So your machine will come with 2 types of baskets. You have a pressurized and a non-pressurized. So I have that here for us to see. So this is what a pressurized basket looks like. It has, let me do one thing at a time. It has this little dual wall message there, so it should be pretty easy to point out. It's hard to tell if you're looking from the inside though, so just check on the bottom. So what a pressurized basket does is basically recreates some of the pressure and air that will help make your coffee more consistent, even if all the variables aren't precise. So if you're using pre-ground coffee, so this machine does have a grinder built in, so that might not be the case, but say you had like a decaf coffee or something you wanted to use that was pre-ground, that would be a reason to use the pressurized. Or I always kind of compare them to like an automatic transmission on a car or training wheels on a bike. It's going to make it easier when you're first getting started. And then as you get more advanced, as you get more used to your machine and dialing in espresso, you can switch over to that single wall basket, which I have installed here. Let me put this down. So a single walled basket is basically all on you. It's all up to you on what you, sorry, I have coffee on this, but it's all up to you on what you are going to brew, and what you do to your coffee is definitely going to influence it. So your grind size is going to be more particular. Your tamp and all of that will definitely be more apparent when you use a single wall, but you can get more particular with your flavors and really get exactly what you want. So eventually I would recommend stepping up to this if you can. So go ahead and put that back into place. Sorry, we'll wipe it out. So I have my machine right here. I just have it on all factory settings, so we can kind of just walk through that together and what that means. Put that in my little storage tray. So your machine, whenever it gets started, it actually heats up really quickly. It's not going to take too long to do that, but you'll notice that the portafilter itself needs a little bit more time. Breville recommends running some water through it, and that's one way to heat it up, or if you let it heat for a little bit longer than they typically recommend, or if you leave it sitting for just a little bit, that should also warm the portafilter for you. Ours has been on for a little bit, so it is all warm and ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of see where we're at with coffee grind size. So this machine, when it came out of the box, it's just set at that 15 size on here, and it goes all the way up to 30. Just go a little bit coarse, yeah. All the way up to 30, so you have faster pour and slower pour, so they make it a little bit easier on you whenever you are looking at the screen to kind of give you the direction. So the last shot I pulled with this was actually too coarse. The grind was too coarse. The espresso was kind of sputtering and splashing, so what we're going to do is take that grind down finer. So sometimes if your grinder isn't going quite fine enough, you can adjust that inside and internally. So to do that, you just need to remove the hopper. And inside you should see two sets of burrs. You have your top burr and your bottom burr. The top burr is connected with this little wire handle here for you to remove. So right now you see the arrow is pointing at the lock position. I'm going to go ahead and hold that wire and just turn it to the align position, and that makes it easily removable. And then in order to change it to go finer, this little wire actually removes. So you're going to remove it. And the little knob, the little notch, you see the red dot there? It's actually lined up with these numbers on the inside. They're really faint, so it's really hard to see. But right now, this one is at 6. So I'm just gonna move it, the top part, to where the circle is on the 5. And then now it's gonna go finer for me. Just one notch at a time is the adjustment you wanna make. You don't want to go any more than that, or you could cause some clogs in your grinder. So you just need to make sure that you're taking it easy, taking it slow, and it will make a big difference, just one adjustment. So then you can reattach your wire there. It should just pop right back into place. Realign your arrow, and then lock that back, and then there you have it. Just reinsert your hopper. If you can line up the two sides there, that would be helpful. Lock it back, pour in your beans. So to activate the grind on this, you're just going to click it in, and then you'll see me turn that grind down a little bit as it's grinding. And you always want to be adjusting when you're grinding so that coffee doesn't get stuck in between your burrs, because that could cause a clog. All right, let's do it. Okay, so I went down about 3 steps because it was pretty quick. And then I tossed that grind because you have different grind sizes all in that. So I want it all to be uniform, so I just dumped that so we could start fresh. So still on 13 seconds, now at the grind size 10. And this will be different for every machine and every coffee, by the way. So your setting probably won't be the same as mine. Just keep that in mind whenever you have all of your stuff on hand. Okay. Another thing we're going to do to just make it easier on ourselves is I have a scale here. This one is from Akaya, and it's definitely designed for some advanced coffee use. But you really don't need a scale like that for setting it up. You can use something simple as like a normal kitchen scale. We're really just looking for something that's going to help you be consistent in your shots, because if you're just going by time, you really don't know exactly how much coffee it's giving you. It will vary. So this just makes it a whole lot easier. Once you get it set up, you won't need to weigh it every time, but just when you're, getting started. So I have my portafilter on there. I tared it out, and this is down, I have grams here, and that's what we're going to be measuring in, and to a 1/10 of a gram. So let's just see, 13 seconds, grind size 10. All right. So it's pretty full. I did let it go the whole time, I think. And we're at 17.6 grams, which is pretty full. You see it's kind of overfilling now. The manual does say you can go up to 22 grams of coffee, I think. I've never been able to achieve that with the double shot basket. Honestly, I've been dosing around 14 to usually for when I do these machines, just because it has a smaller portafilter size altogether, 54 instead of the normal 58 millimeter size. So I'm going to knock a little bit of this coffee off just to get down to 17 or closer to 17 instead of 17.6, and just see where that leaves us. Just a little bit. It's okay if you knock off too much, you can just add a little more. Perfect. Wow, that was good. 17 even. So I forgot my tamp mat, so I'm just going to use my little rag here to protect my countertop. When you go to tamp, this is something that's important. You want to make sure it's not too much pressure, because people focus on the pressure a lot for tamping. That is an important part, but what's more important is being level and even and consistent. So a good way to do that is I recommend holding your your tamper like a flashlight. So arm straight out in front of you, your thumb should be aligned pretty straight there and just rest on the bottom. And then your index finger here can just lay on the base as well. It should be a pretty comfortable, not too tight grip. And then your arm itself should be at a 90-degree angle. And you just want to be as even as you possibly can and push down until you just feel resistance. And a good way to check to see how even you are when you're learning, we'll just see, is to lay it there. And Breville actually has a little line on the side where it separates from the base to the handle, and you can kind of just see how even it is. My tamp here is pretty even. It's not perfect. It's a little bit heavier on the right, which seems to be a trend for me. So I will continue to work on that. But for now, I think it'll be great. Let's just go ahead and lock it into place. Perfect. And let's just see what we end up with here on the standard double shot. Now, in these settings, the automatic settings that come with the machine, it is automatically pre-infusing. And basically what that means is it's adding a little bit of water to the grounds before it starts to brew. And that should help more flavor come out of your coffee and make the grounds a little bit more even inside the portafilter as well. So this is still a little fast. It's not awful though. So actually this would be acceptable within the parameters. So that stopped at 24 seconds and has a pretty good volume, 1.5 ounces, which is not too far off from what I would usually pull. So that's pretty acceptable. I'd probably go a little bit finer personally. And let's just try it out there and see. And then this next one, instead of doing just espresso, we'll do an actual latte. I'll go ahead and rinse out the cup, take advantage of this hot water feature here. I would recommend using the hot water if you like really hot coffee. Use it to preheat your cup, because that will help. Perfect. And then always useful for rinsing shot glasses. I also like to give it a little rinse before and after I pull shots, just to make sure the screen is clean. And if you don't have a knockbox, I would definitely recommend picking one up. It makes it a lot easier for when you're cleaning this little basket out. Just pops right out instead of, having to get under the sink or something. Perfect. All right, so grind size 10, I think we're just gonna go down like a step. So have my portafilter back here. Let's just see what happens. All right, so I just went down with step to, I was at 10, went down to 9, knock that out. Tare, make sure it's still at 0. All right, so still 13 seconds, setting 9. Perfect, okay. And then obviously as you go finer, it's gonna take longer to dispense that same amount of coffee. Yeah, so I didn't change the time, but now we're at 17 point, sorry, this is sensitive to air, so me breathing on it doesn't help. 17.3 grams, which is pretty close. So last time it was at 17.7, so just a slight difference in that grind size there. But I'm gonna just knock a little bit off. Get back down to 17. So I'm at 16.9, which I will still call acceptable. Okay. And this machine does come with a little razor tool. I don't really like using it personally just because it knocks a bunch of coffee out, especially if you're using it the way that I use it, I suppose. So I use my hand to distribute, or there's some like tapping methods if you wanted to go there. Honestly, there's a whole other topic about distribution tools, but for now, just stick with the basics. All right, clean tamp, put that back. Here we go. And let's just go straight into the cup there and hit 2. If you wanted to do manual pre-infusion, all you have to do is just hold this button down instead of clicking it. And I'll probably show you what I mean here after I'm done with this shot. Yeah, so that's looking really good. I have no qualms with the way that that's pulling. The next step would be to taste it. So 25 seconds. So the goal target is between 24 and like 32. There's a little bit of variation there depending on the person. Let's just like try it out and see how it pulled though. Smells super dark chocolate rich, which is what I'm going for. Oh yeah, so it's got a nice intensity, but it's not too bitter. It shouldn't like hurt. It shouldn't feel bitter on the sides of your tongue or like sour or anything like that. This one's really well balanced. I'm really pleased with it. So I'm not going to make any more adjustments. I'm actually just going to go ahead and steam some milk. So when you're steaming on this machine, it's going to take a little bit for that thermocoil inside to heat to the temperature you want. And that thumping, that's telling you that it's working. So that's pretty good. So when you're steaming, it takes practice and technique to get it just right, to get your foam just right. But one of the best things about this unit is that it's a strong steam, but not overly strong. So it gives you time to get that texture right. I recommend using the tip of your spout that comes with your steaming pitcher to hold your steaming pitcher in place and keep it even. Then the first few seconds of what you'll do when you're steaming is called aeration. And that is going to be pulling the steaming pitcher down, you hear that? To give it a little bit of air. And the more air you give it, the more foam you'll have. And then when you're done adding your foam, I'd probably recommend about 10 seconds worth of aeration on this machine for the size drink I'm doing. After you're done with aeration, just put the wand further down into your milk. And if you put the wand further down into your milk, it'll stop adding air and just start heating. So this turned out pretty good. I lost some of my chroma there from my little sip, but it'll probably be okay. And then you can keep steaming on this if it's if you like it really hot. It'll probably steam for longer than someone who just likes regular temperatured milk. See, but it really allows you to just take your time and texture that milk, and it makes it really fun to do latte art and things like that. Just to be totally honest, I'm not usually that good, but whenever I have time to steam my milk, I think it makes it a lot easier for me. So that came out really great. I'm just gonna go ahead and sip and just taste it out because it looks so good. Yeah, that espresso is so good in milk. It's good like both ways, but it just really complements the milk. It's not overpowering it. You still get that nice coffee flavor, no bitterness, so you should really check that out. Anyway, let's talk about how you would do manual pre-infusion on this machine. I think, yep. Sometimes this will happen. A little trick is if you can catch it underneath there, whoop, but just toss that little coffee puck out. But a good trick, because this is something I learned from a home user, is if it's stuck in there, which that's normal because the screen has that metal, if you pull it out, notice your puck isn't there, just hit that button really quick and it'll drop right into your portafilter. I didn't quite make it in time, but okay. Manual pre-infusion. So you can do manual shots on this machine anytime you want. Just press and hold that button and you'll actually see when you're holding it, it'll say manual. So you see the limited flow of water. This is our pre-infusion. This is what's happening at the first part of your shot. Then when you let it go, it goes to full stream. And then just hit the button again when you want it to stop. You can go into the deeper settings of this menu and change your automatic or your standard settings for your shots. But if you're doing it manually, all you have to do is just hold it down until you're done with a pre-infusion, let it go, hit the button again whenever you're ready for it to stop. Overall, I think that pretty much covers everything on this machine. You'll want to make sure for like cleaning and maintenance wise that you're doing that pretty regularly. It has two different little signals, one for a clean me and then one that's for descaling. Clean me is your back flushing, and your back flushing should be done with this little silicone piece that they give you. You just remove the basket. Let me wipe this out because it's got coffee in it. Place this instead, and it sits flat. And you'll place a Breville cleaning tablet on top of there, lock into place, and they have like a setting for that as well. So I'll run through that for you. Then descaling will be less regular. That should be done every couple months just to make sure there's no scale buildup inside of your machine. But that's in addition to the back flushing. Perfect. I think that about covers all of this machine really in the setup. If you have any questions, we would be happy to answer them for you. Just place them in the comments below or reach out to us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and we will see you next time.